Welcome to So Very Easy. My name is Laura, and the summer heat is upon us, so it's time to have a nice summer cooler. But I'm not talking the kind that you drink. This is going to be the kind that you wear. It's going to be made with a beautiful, soft cotton, and it'll be perfect for coming out of the shower, over top of a bathing suit, or just lounging around the house. And the bonus is, it's going to be able to be custom sized for yourself. And we're going to have one for a child, so you can have customized matching summer coolers. The fabric I'm going to use is this Embrace double gauzed cotton. It's from Shannon Fabrics, and they have beautiful children's prints, they have solid colors, and they have beautiful adult prints. A double gauzed cotton is a very, very lightweight cotton, and it's woven together in 2 layers. And it gives you this beautiful, soft fabric that's light and very comfortable to wear. And it's very cool to wear because it's a light cotton. A good needle for this weight would be a 70-10, and an all-purpose thread to match the fabric will be fine. Optional will be some ties, and this is just some roping that you can get at a fabric store, and I've just put beads on the end. The double gauze is a really nice fabric to use for this project because the body is only one piece of fabric, and if you get a pattern, make sure that it is looking good from both sides, that there's no direction. So if you're having arrows, you're going to not want the arrows going one direction and then down the other. So solids would be great for this, and an all-over pattern. You are only going to need 2 measurements. The measurement you're going to need is the shoulder size. Your shoulder size is going to be, if you put your arms out from your elbow to your elbow. You can have it longer, you can even have it a little shorter. The next measurement is going to be how long you want it. So it's going to be the measurement from your shoulder to, well, how long you want it. Do you want it to your knees or do you want it to the floor? Those are the 2 measurements you're going to need. So the first thing you need to do is decide on the width that you want. And you need to trim off the selvages because the selvage does wash different than the rest of the fabric because it's woven different. And then cut it to the measurement you want. And you will need to have that one long piece, that wide measurement. Once you have the width and the length that you want, you need to find the middle. And to do that, just fold the fabric in half and in half. And after the fabric's been folded, you will have all the raw edges together on one side and the raw edges meeting up along the bottom, and that's going to be the hem. These are going to be both sides. This will become your neck, and it will have a fold all the way and the fold at the top. And you need to just mark that fold. So X is my center. And when you go to the description, you're going to have a couple of pages. The 2 of these are going to be able to be taped together. You'll have one long piece, then you can cut out along the outside. You're going to have a mark that says shoulder fold and then 2 folds along the line. You will need to make 2 of these, but you'll cut them out on a fold. So you're going to take your fabric that you want for the inside and take it and fold it in half. And the 2 edges where it says fold are going to go right on the folded edge. And you're going to be able to cut this out. When you have the 2 cut out, they're going to have this key shape. Put both pieces right side together. Now you can use a serger or your machine and stitch all the way around the outside. When the 2 sides are put together, turn them right side out. Press the edges and top stitch all the way around. Now when you're sewing the double gauzed cotton, you do not need tiny little stitches. You can make your stitches just a little bit bigger. When it's all pressed, let's transfer the markings onto the yoke. First thing I like to do is put the 5/8 inch mark all the way around the neckline. That is going to be the stitching line. The next would be the center line, and to make that dart, you need to go a little bit on each side and draw down. So you're going to have a big V. The next are the shoulder seams. And just by placing that cutout right on the neckline, you're going to be able to find that shoulder line and mark it. And if you want to put a tie on the summer cooler, you can do it now. You want the tie to be sitting underneath, but right in the location there where the neck is going to be. I like to keep it all in one piece. Find the center, slip it underneath, and pin it. So it's right where your stitching line is going to be in the V. You're going to come and you're going to stitch all the way around, but when you come to the V, you're going to stop and you're going to go down one side of that large V and come up. So you're not stitching that center line. That center line is a cut line. And by having that put on now, it will stay out of the way. Just pin it onto this fabric. Now I have no worries of running them over, and they're going to be exactly where I want them. Now we can pick this up and put it right in the middle where we marked our mark. When the shoulder seams are lined up, the X that you made right in that center mark is not going to be in the center of the circle. It's going to be more towards the back. So here's my center mark, and that's going to line up with my shoulder and the center of that yoke. The next will be to stitch this on, and I'm going to stitch following that 5/8, stopping, going down to the bottom of that V, coming back up, and continue sewing that 5/8. So here's that stitching line. The rope is right here in this corner. Now when you trim, you are going to trim the rope at the same time. So you can trim around the edge, going right down, and trim as close as you can to those bottom threads. You can either do a little zigzag or do a serge stitch just around the edge and then trim down the center. Now you could take this and turn it towards the inside. Next is top stitch all the way around, going right down to the point, up and around the entire neck. For the sleeves, you're going to need a long piece, 2 inches by 24 inches. Fold them in half and stitch along the ends, and then fold it to the right side, and then press it in half, matching the raw edges. You now have 2 long strips with finished edges, and pin that piece on, matching the center seam of this little strip to the center seam, which is the shoulder seam of the garment. Now you're going to be able to stitch this on. I like to start right from the very bottom and serge all the way up, going right over this and go all the way down to the bottom. And when both sides are done, take the summer cooler and fold it right in half. Take this little facing, fold it out of the way, and start about 1/2 inch into this little facing area and stitch beside it all the way down. So your seam allowance is going to be about 1/2 inch. By stitching in about 1/2 inch, you would not have caught any of these seams or this little piece. And when you open it up, you will see you have a little bit of fabric in there. You now are going to be able to take this and fold this piece back onto itself. The side seam is going to be able to be pressed open, so you have some of the front coming into the back. So you're going to be able to sew right along that edge and then come across here right there where those threads are. That was where you started that seam, and just go back and forth, back stitching with your thread. And that's going to build up a little bit of thread there. It's going to make it stronger. The next is do 1 more row of stitching and stitch the entire thing down. So on this side, you're going to see 2 rows of stitching. So the 2 rows of stitching are done. The one along the one edge where I've back stitched and reinforced here, and the one along the blue edge. And when you turn it over, you have a nice clean finished, but you have that beautiful finish inside. So the neckline is done and you have some cute ties, or you could have gone without. It still would look very nice. And the sleeves have a nice finish from whatever angle you look at. Now you need to take into consideration the hem. Now the hem, you can have it any length you want. There is one thing though to consider when you do the hem. When your arm is down, this edge is going to go down, which means the bottom is going to be longer than the center. Let me show you what I mean. If your neck is here and your shoulder stops here, this sleeve is going to come down. As it comes down, all of the fabric is also going to come down. So this little point, which is the side, is going to hang down longer than the front. So try on the summer cooler and adjust the hem if you need to. Now you can make these summer coolers in any size at all. There are beautiful children prints, so you could make one for a little girl. You will need approximately 24 inches for the width, and for the length you're going to need 35 inches tall, so you're going to need double of that for the fabric. For the little sleeve, you do it the same way, and you start with just a 10-inch little strip of fabric. In the description, I've given you an extra neckline so that you can make a matching one for a little girl. Now, if you do not use the whole width of the fabric, you're going to have a long piece left over. Well, that leftover will make a beautiful cotton scarf. And you don't need to use it just as a scarf. It would make a nice belt onto the summer cooler. So you can make it with the scarf for a child. You can make the sleeves in a different length, and you can make it any length you want. This summer cooler is very cool, very comfortable. You'll probably want to live in it. Thank you for joining me today on Sew Very Easy. Feel free to subscribe, and as always, come on back. Let's see what we're sewing next time in the sewing room. Bye for now.